Hello, hello, mic testing, hello. Mic testing, hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Miss Aishwarya Honakunti, Assistant Professor. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you all. Day 3 of the 5-day National Faculty Development Program on Beyond the Horizon Expanding Mindset for Academic Excellence. I hope the session over the past 2 days have been insightful and enriching, and I'm sure today will be equally engaging and inspiring. As we continue this journey of learning and exploration, today's session is designed to help us think deeper, adapt better, and grow stronger as educators in a rapidly changing world. We now move on to session 3 titled AI Ready Mindset by our esteemed resource person, Dr. Srinivas Padmanabhuni. On behalf of the institution and all the participants, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. In an era where artificial intelligence is shaping the future, it becomes essential for us to develop the right mindset to understand, accept, and effectively use these advancements. This session will guide us on how we can stay relevant, flexible, and forward thinking in our approach. Now, may I request Assistant Professor Ms. Devopriya to present the profile of our resource person, Dr. Srinivas Padmanabhuni.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege to introduce a distinguished personality whose contributions span the domains of academia, research, innovation, and industry excellence. Dr. Srinivas Padmanabhuni, an eminent engineer, TEDx speaker, former president of ACM India, and a globally recognized expert in artificial intelligence, Dr. Padmanabhuni represents a rare blend of intellectual depth and practical innovation. Dr. Padmanabhuni holds a PhD in Artificial Intelligence from the University of Alberta, Canada, along with an MTech from IIT Bombay and a BTech from IIT Kanpur, forming an exceptionally strong academic foundation. With decades of experience, he has made significant contributions to the field of computing and has been honored with the prestigious title of Eminent Engineer by the Institution of Engineering. He has held key leadership roles, including serving as Principal Research Scientist and Associate Vice President at Infosys Labs. He also played a pivotal role in shaping the computing community as President of ACA. An accomplished entrepreneur, he has co-founded multiple impactful ventures such as CityMundi, an AI-enabled agri-tech platform, and testing.com, focused on responsible AI, while also mentoring at Tara Technologies. Dr. Padmanabhuni's scholarly contributions are equally impressive. He has published 100 plus referred international papers, delivered 400 plus invited talks across 8 countries, taught over 15,000 students, and secured 7 granted patents with several more in progress. His expertise spans artificial intelligence, machine learning, software engineering, and cybersecurity, with a strong focus on building ethical and responsible AI systems. In conclusion, Dr. Srinivas Padmanabhuni is not just a technologist, but a visionary who continues to inspire students, researchers, and professionals alike. His journey is a testament to the idea that excellence is not an act but a habit. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Srinivas Padmanabhuni. I request Ms. Pallavi to welcome Dr. Srinivas with a sapling. I request Dr. Srinivas to kindly take over the session.
Sir, I'll put this on your distance.
That's all.
Yes, sir. So if you want to walk and talk, I have.
But for the slide changer.
Slide changing it.
Oh,
I'll
one
put the
second.
slide now, sir.
Yeah.
I'll put the slide.
What about online people?
Online, it's going there, sir. Everyone is seeing the.
Okay. Okay.
I'll give you a Bluetooth mic, sir, for the speakers.
Sure,
If you
sure.
want to walk and talk.
Yeah.
So you can keep this in my pocket. Okay?
Sure.
I'll change the slides for you, so you can walk and talk. When
No, but it's fine. Just keep it open.
you will do, sir.
Hmm?
You will do.
No, I have to go back and forth. I have to know the context and all that. No problem.
This one, that's it. It'll change.
Sure, sure, sure.
This is not.
No, how do you go back to?
Back, I have to go from
Okay. Which one? That one.
From here, I'll do the back thing, sir. Okay.
Okay. No problem. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see good level of enthusiasm after lunch. My promise is I'll try to keep you awake. Okay. And the thing is this is a topic which is both exciting as well as scary. Do you agree? So interesting part of it is, depends on which lens you try to view it as. So there are, just like any technology, right? What is the whole Iran war about? What is the fear? Fear is about evil use of nuclear energy. But on the same side, we had a very positive development in India. Have you heard of it? In the nuclear energy sector, we have had a breakthrough where we had a tiny breeder reactor which is producing more uranium than what's consuming. Amazing breakthrough and a potential for amazing clean energy in the coming future. So we had two aspects of the same technology. It's nuclear base thing is a fission or a fusion. So same thing happens with any technology. You can make good use of it or you can make bad use of it. How many of you have seen the movie Oppenheimer? There's a lot of remorse in the scientists who unknowingly contributed to the atom bomb. But okay, that was one facet, but later an amazing source of energy for the whole mankind, right? So with every technology it's the same thing. It is viewed positively or it is to be viewed negatively. So my view would be to take a positive view of AI and guide you all to remain cautious, remain positive. And the other aspect which is very important is, as a professional in whatever field, whether you are a programmer, whether you are a tester, you are a teacher, you are an architect, you are a designer, your core doesn't change whatever technology comes. You need to understand that aspect. If you can keep a firm conviction and confidence, I think that is the first step. So don't think that a technology comes here suddenly changes the role of human. It doesn't. So my 2 cents for this session will be, at the end of it, I want to make you feel confident that AI is a co-pilot. What is the role of a co-pilot in a flight? Assist. Exactly. So the idea of AI to co-pilot a teacher is what the way to look at it positively. At the same time, there is going to be disruption. See, disruption has never been new to human profession. So I'll give you an example. At a point of time, a couple of decades back, not maybe many decades back, when you used to go to railway station to do a reservation and show proof of reservation, you had to carry a ticket. Which was this, I don't know how many of you there, but you had a physical ticket, which was this rectangular cardboard thing. And then came, we had printed tickets. And then came, you don't need a printout. Anytime, anywhere. Right? And today, it is not even like you need to even show the ticket. The ticket collector only asks your last name. Have you seen that in the train? Does the government check your ticket? The confidence levels have gone up with the technology. So what is that? The same activity, which is reservation of train, but what has happened in terms of human way of doing it? It is influenced by technology. Started with basic database enabled reservation system. Then we had mobile enabled. And today, not only mobile, you can have any kind of medium on which you can have it. Right? Anytime, anywhere, you can access information. So let me take another example. How many of you know there's something called as a passbook associated with the account? You have to go to the bank to get it printed and updated to the latest. How many of you actually use it today? Is it even there? There, but nobody uses. All of you check your balance on first online, or even better today with mobile. Or in fact, if you are a bit smarter, you would only even connect your Alexa to your bank account and get that audio with an AI interface. Another classic example. What started out was complete physical. You go to the bank, do that. Moved part of it to cash withdrawal, etc. on ATM. Then it moved on to digital core banking. Then it moved on to mobile banking. Now it is AI banking with Alexa. So what I'm trying to say is technology is going to be constantly evolving, and the way it affects our work will also be evolving. How do I get back? Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is that with every aspect of human work, we saw two, one with banking, right? Another we saw reserving tickets. Same thing, think of teaching as another work of humans, specialized work, especially for teachers. That's a core profession. Same thing has happened over the history, right? What has happened is in early days of Gurukul, people used to teach under a tree, one is to many. Then people brought about Tamra Lipi, in which people were writing and then delivering those lectures. Slowly, people discovered chalk and blackboard. Then people discovered whiteboard and colored pen. Then today we have smart whiteboards. But even today, there are many teachers who prefer the chalk and pen, right? Nothing wrong. It's perfectly fine. So same thing has happened with technology in the direction of teaching. So what has happened is, has it happened that I don't want to learn the new technology, new way of teaching, I'll remain my old fashioned of teaching under the tree? It didn't happen. Teachers evolved. They understood the power of writing and storing the knowledge in a written form had better productivity. Then came delivering via some shared medium like, and today we have same thing converted to online, delivering online instruction. There may be positive, there may be negative, but you cannot stop the evolution. That's what I'm saying. So AI is yet another evolution. But before that, I also want to tell you that it is not that technology is so impactful in all our lives, all through our history. The pace at which technology is influencing our life is changing. For example, electricity, when it came, you know how much years it took to reach whole of mankind? Around 150 years. And then cars, or so-called transportation with cars, it took around 50 years to reach whole of mankind from 1930s, 20s. Then internet came around 60s and started growing to the whole mankind around 40 years. And now we have AI, which is a new form of AI, which is primarily called as deep learning and multimodal AI, which started around 2012, which took less than 10 years to reach whole of mankind with applications like medical diagnosis, driverless cars, automated scanning, OCR, all the applications. Then within that, we have a new way of AI called generative AI, which started somewhere in 2023. Within 10 months, it reached whole of mankind. So what took 150 years, then it took 100 years, took 50 years, to 10 years, to now 1 year. So the pace of absorption of technology is changing. And that puts onus a little bit more on current generation and our next generation. That we have to be more adept with technology. So what happens is those who don't adopt technology will have a problem. What is the problem? Is exactly what I put here in the slide. What it says, AI as a technology influencing the pedagogy teaching will not replace educators, but it will replace educators who do not utilize AI. Right? This is something which is applied in every class I go. If I go and teach lawyers, I'll tell them replace educators with lawyers. If I go to programmers, I'll go to say instead of educators is programmers. And it's everywhere is the same thing. But one thing is you got to understand that what has happened if that doesn't get into the what is called as your psyche and your way of working. I'll tell you horror stories. You know, there was a company called as Kodak. Some of you must have worked with the photo camera reels, right? Its reel was costlier than Konica, leader in the world. But those people actually fell into the second category, saying that I do not want to utilize digital. That is a mantra they went, because we are already leaders in. And guess what happened? They just perished. So because you have today a billion cameras, every mobile phone is a camera. So what happened? The technology of digital photography killed a company which did not utilize digital. I'll give you another example. There was a company called Blockbuster Video in US. Very popular. Every street had a video rental store. Every nook and corner, people used to rent videos from the neighborhood Blockbuster store. Then when they went complacent that they're leaders in video rental, video content distribution, they did not pay attention to the what is called as internet enabled video on demand. They just got killed. And which was the company which took them over? Netflix. Netflix is a new company which looked at the opportunity and came up. So what happens is the replacement will be happening by incumbents who are able to absorb the new technology better, faster and cheaper. I'm giving you, just replace AI with a new technology. So every process, it could be a business in the video rental, it could be a business in the photography, it could be business in education, doesn't matter. The mantra is same. You replace AI with a technology trend, an educator with some professional. Put in X technology trend and Y profession. It's the same phenomena that and today it's all the more important because of what I told you, the pace of influence of technology in changing our processes, whether we teach, how we learn, how we kind of do banking, all that is getting transformed in much faster than what we talked about. So the key mantra I want you to take away is AI will not replace an absolute professional. So if the professional is wary and understands how to work with AI, not only your job remains, but you excel at the new way of teaching. Is that clear? So this is a universal truth. Replace AI with the technology trend, replace educator with some profession. I can go on and on examples. Walmart is considered the largest, huge stores, but it was very late to wake up to e-commerce. Today it has caught up, but when one new company came and became the leader in commerce, which was the company? Which gives tough competition to Walmart? Amazon. Amazon understood. Here, what was the educator role? It is basically, you can say, commerce vendors. What is the technology instead of AI? It is the e-commerce. I think people who adopted e-commerce became leader and they replaced people who adopt. In fact, there are companies who just went away because they could not adopt digital e-commerce well, like Kmart. There's some very nice examples. So I can give you examples and examples of this combination. This is a mantra slide, I'm telling you. This is a mantra slide. Replace AI with the technology and replace educator with the profession. And that is also going to happen here. It's not very different. So I'm not talking about rehashing that with replacing technology with AI and educator as a profession. It's shown in example after example. This is a universal trend. And that is the thing you got to be. So what is your role? Your role has to be a person who can adopt AI and emerge winner, right? That's how you're going to survive. So in terms of one important thing which we are going to see is just like any other profession, AI is big into education. So it is reshaping all aspects of education. It's not just thinking about individual teacher, it's looking at the overall education institution itself. There's so many process AI can help. So what is the power of AI? The power of AI is about three things. First and foremost, what is called as knowledge driven work. It can do knowledge driven work like humans, right? Humans do knowledge driven work like teaching, like learning. Second thing is what is called as automation. Automation means if something is usually done by a human, a machine can do it, right? The third thing which is very important is this whole concept of analytics, personalization, understanding the context and doing very focused work rather than everyone getting the same work. So what the idea we want to look at is the advancement in AI is reshaping how we deliver, how education institutions are able to do their processes automatically, and then how you're able to personalize your teaching, personalized learning outcomes, personalized learning for student. So as I said, data informed decisions is a part of this whole personalization. What is personalization? Personalization means n equal to 1. There are two approaches, n equal to infinity, n equal to 1. What is n equal to infinity? It means one lecture delivered to everyone. No difference. That's called the Ford Model T. Ford, when came out with Model T in 1920s, 30s, the idea was that every car will look the same. So what they had created a factory for car body in one part, left wheel at another part, steering in another part. They created thousands and thousands of parts produced, and then they had produced to an assembly plant. They could assemble. It was like every 5 minutes, one Model T car was churned out from the assembly line. So the idea there was one size fits all. But that's frustrating for students. There may be slow learners. There may be some people very experienced in some things. There may be some people who have interest in some specific topics. So that is where n equal to 1 comes in. N equal to 1 is the idea of every person, every audience, every student is able to get personalized learning based on his or her likings, his or her learning ability, his or her pace of learning, his or her outcomes which may be different for each. And that is one thing which AI offers. So as I said, one aspect of AI has been the moving from n equal to infinity to n equal to 1, which is the whole notion of personalized learning. If you can see that actually when you go to some of these online platforms which are very AI enabled, they're not like only throwing you exactly the same sequence of things. They look at what topics you try to revise more. They look at what topics you try to be more interactive. And that's exactly what Netflix does when you watch movies on TV. It watches 200 parameters, you know. It watches what part of the movie you rewinded twice went, what movie you went and watched multiple times, what was the genre of the movie, what was the hero of the movie, are you watching based on hero commonality or some trend of the use. That gives you recommendation in terms of what is the most likely movie you will watch based on what you have watched. Same thing these learning platforms are doing. They look at your pedagogy, your learning, your sequence of lessons you learn more. You try to spend more time in learning. Based on that, they'll provide what is called as a personalized adaptive learning path. And that is one thing students will like. And teachers can adopt that as a one technology and a way of imparting a more personalized training. I don't know if this kind of setting is perfect for that, but there will be always settings where you can form close groups of students. You can create custom case studies for students, which are individual group with specific interests, and make them discuss and then come back. So AI in terms of usage in the whole life cycle, I'll come to more and more details of it. But what is happening is the potential of AI in these aspects of personalization, automation, and analytics. If you don't adopt it, it's going to leave a lot of things on the table. If you're still thinking life is as usual, I'll continue with my way as usual, it is actually a loss for the students and as well as for the teachers. While we're doing this, it's also important that we need to bring in human value. It's not like I'll just adopt technology for technology's sake, right? There is a Netflix technology, which is what it does is, based on what you have watched, it tries to recommend things which may be relevant to what you have watched. So there's similar technology in AI. What they say is what you have tried to see or what, they'll try to recommend. So have you seen that when you're trying to shop on Amazon? Yes. You try to buy something, you say people who bought this also bought this. So you can try this, right? That's a great AI algorithm, right? It helps you in not going searching again. It will actually try to read your mind and offer that. You're saying, why is ethics related to this? I'll give a solution for why ethics is important. Would you want to have this AI recommend you something when suppose you bought a chair and a rope? Would you take that suggestion? No. Why? Why would you not take a suggestion? It's basically against human values. It's driving you towards something which is not recommended. That's exactly what it is. It's like the science of nuclear bomb, a nuclear bomb or a nuclear energy. Same AI algorithm. So today, same thing is happening with Gen AI. People can use it even for dangerous purposes. So that is why the last element, which is very important, you should be doing this transformation ethically. Not that I just have a new technology, so I'll just go and use it for personalization, adaptation, automation, right? But at the same time, ignoring these risks of ethics, human values is going to be problematic. So you may be wondering, I'm saying you go and adopt AI in all the personalization, all the automation, all the pedagogy, but then why are you saying that you have to be careful? You have to be careful because of these things. So there are human values at stake, which may not be, always keep in mind one thing. Human is number one. It is the human who is going to drive. So when you are adopting technology, keep the base human values, ethics at the center. I give you a solid example, right? Hardcore AI algorithms, it helps you in making your shopping better. But in doing that, what has happened? This aspect has often been ignored, that you need to look back, see if it is violating human values. Are there some basic risks you are undergoing? And that is one thing which is a problem because of the automation which AI offers. And that's one thing I'll sensitize you all, that don't let AI be the driver. You be the driver. Let technology be the enabler for automation or for improving or personalization, but you have to be in the driver's seat. So that's the risk. So you have to manage the risk. So I already told this about. So what is the kind of message I'm trying to convey here? You may have technologies. You may have smart classroom, smart boards, smart tabs on which you run your programs, or you may have smart online platforms on which you do the delivery. But one thing you got to understand, educator is still at the center. So that means you have to make the call what AI tools will be relevant. I may not want to use AI tools for scenarios where I need people to apply K3 and K4 level questions, where want them to analyze scenarios. I want them to criticize scenarios. I want them to apply some knowledge in some domain and come back. But the same way, if I'm doing more an objective K1, K2, I don't mind using AI tool for automated evaluation, automated generation, automated question generation. So right tool selection is up to the educator. So I'm going a bit deeper in terms of enriching that fact that educator is still at the center, human in the loop, AI, that's what we call it. See, as I said, AI can be two types. Either you give it completely autonomous, no human involvement, or you do something where human, it's called IA, intelligent augmentation. Means human is at the center, AI is an augmentation technology to help improve the processes of the human. It works across the board. Today in the software world, which is a sad part of many of your graduates, is a lot of jobs in the programming domain are getting automated by Claude Code and Copilot. But at the same time, I don't have the confidence that it will meet the 100% requirement of every customer. So a coder has to become a system analyst to understand what is the requirement for end user. Is the requirement satisfied? Can you test what is generated, working towards it, and be able to modify it, customize it? So in the recent TED talk I gave, I said AI is going to kill a lot of jobs in programming for sure, but two jobs will always remain. One is called as tester. Whatever code you generate, wherever you generate from, using whatever tool, whatever AI tool, but ultimately end user has to be satisfied with the system delivered, right? So you have to test it. The testing cannot be automated. A lot of automation can be done, but still the final testing at the end has to be some human in the loop who doesn't like the user interface. So I go and change the user interface, or it is not able to take that much load which I expect as an end user, to go back and change the system. Second thing is being able to work with the code generated and modify it and customize it for the target. It's not like code generated by the tool is as is applicable. So that's called vibe code cleanup specialist. Jhadu pocha karna. You know what it means? Whatever generated by AI, generated junk, clean it up so that it actually makes sense for the client. Many scenarios it may not need cleanup. For people like small time e-commerce vendors and all, they say, give me a template website, all my basic functionality done, I don't care. I don't have so much brand requirement, so much customized. But if you are somebody who is very careful about brand, you will not take something which is coming out from the AI crap. You have to go and change it, customize it. So two skills which are required, which is understanding and cleaning up and maintaining AI generated code. Second thing is, how do you make a good test plan to ensure that clients are satisfied with the deliverable product? And both these skills are slowly getting missing in the current generation of software developers. They're getting so addicted to Gen AI that they're misusing it by taking it as is and not going the next step. So the people in that domain are now going back and saying that I'm better off not using an AI tool and generate everything from hand. That also is bad, because there's a lot of efficiency offered by AI-enabled generation. So the same thing will happen here. When you're talking about an end-to-end process, right? What are the tasks you do? You have to start from thinking about overall course plan, start from lesson plan, right? And from each lesson plan, you have to think about what kind of weightage for lab, what kind of weightage for classes, theory, exercises should I give for assignments, what should be the goal of learning objectives. Divide them into areas where you think some kind of automation is possible, it will be better. Use tools. Where you think you can use the tool, but you will take control on top of it. You have to take that. So ultimately, educate the center. So, as I said, start from tool selection for different parts. Then even how do you teach? For example, today, one of the big problems in teaching which we find is that we don't necessarily have to go and write all the algorithm on the board. It's available out of the box. So what I do is, I'll do a flipped classroom. I will make the code generated by a Google Colab, or if it is Claude, using Claude Code or Copilot, and then make the students work with different variety of inputs and work backwards on how that code has worked. Then I'll make it a little bit more complex. I'll introduce bugs into the code and let them do the debugging, understand where the code is failing for which test case. And that's the only way to teach programming today. If any of you are teaching C, C++, Prolog, Java, Python, kids are going to be bored. Because they're seeing AI code is generating all that. What is happening as a result? The core DSA, which is required by them, right? Data structures, algorithms, they're not getting there. They're saying already code is generated. How do you get that going? Get that going by start with flipped classroom method. There is already a generated code. Work around it. Perturb it. Ask where is the bug. Let them do hands-on. Let them figure out a better way of doing that, by challenging them. Can you bring something which is more efficient than the current version? So it's a very evolving area, pedagogy in the area of especially highly influenced areas like programming languages. But even in business, case teaching, earlier people were taught the entire fundamentals, everything. But now approach should be case driven. Give a finished case and let them work backwards. What was the strategy approached? What was the marketing approach? What was the TAM? What was the approach which you were taking alternative? What was the alternative solution? What would have been an alternative approach to that? So in every domain we're talking about flipped classroom now. But what is flipped classroom? It's again the role of the teacher, how you facilitate the use of technology. Educator is at the center. So what I'm saying is, we cannot say that there's a robot which is coming and teaching. It's not going to happen. But what you're going to do is, you're going to use the AI tools. So future is not human versus machine, as I said already, right? It's about human with machine. In that case, teacher with AI, not teacher replaced by AI. So that is something which I want to look at. So what are the tangible benefits we're seeing? Okay, you said that you'll not be replacing, but the tangible benefits are when you get overall improvement in the way you work in terms of efficiency, overall improvement in learning benefit in terms of learning outcomes for students, overall benefits for academic institution in terms of overall cost and time, overall agility in terms of being able to absorb new technology, new concepts, new case studies. So for example, teachers are using for admin and grading. My own experiment, I am a visiting faculty at several schools. I have experimented myself on K1, K2 level, completely automated to GenAI. Course quiz generation to course quiz correction. But where case studies involved, I use them to generate the questions, but I will leave it to subjectively evaluate based on descriptive answers. I can't let that whole question paper be objective. It has to be a combination, as I said. So I am not leaving it the whole thing saying that I will do everything by hand. I can. But because I have an AI tool, what I do is 40% of the things which are about conceptual understanding, K1, K2, I feed it the whole material and I ask it to generate question paper. And I even give it to the paper to evaluate. And there comes the judgment. What is the percentage K1, K2, K3, K4 which you're looking at? And even for K3, case studies you can generate using GenAI. Give it the broad spectrum of what you're taught, what is the material. Then based on that, let it generate different scenarios. And another important thing you got to understand is that this is something which is also going to be used by students. So those days are gone when you had the asymmetry that only students will have access, only teachers will have access to the tool and students do not have access. That's what I use my asymmetry. That is pop. Don't do that. That's encouraged by a lot of administrations, I know, but it's a bad idea. Let students and teachers co-evolve. You have to find a balance.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
K1, K2, when you are giving it to the AI, or you said it's technology which you are going to use it, how we can authenticate the answers validated by that is also correct.
There will be human in the loop.
Human should be there.
There will be human in the loop. Or I'll let them as a judge. Generate in Grok, validate in Gemini, validate in Copilot.
So you get a 100% accurate result.
If you validate across three, you'll see this difference somewhere. So you'll go. See, all I'm saying is you are at the center. How you're going to use the tools is your thing. Don't depend on one tool, be lazy, Just make sure that you're circumspect about everything that comes.
So what I said is that will only evaluate.
Yeah, but late evaluation done by two different LLMs. LLM is a judge. That's what we do in software industry. We're not depending on one LLM. We're doing output of one cross-validating with another. Human in the loop is always a good idea. Even then your efficiency improves, isn't it? But it's something I want all of you to try. Don't be this thing that my organization will be strict, I'm not going to enforce. Those are gone. Those days are gone. Those will be pedagogy elements where I have asymmetry, where only students will be given closed door, closed notes, closed thing. In my whole life from IIT Kanpur BTech days, I have never had a closed notes, closed source exam. I was always open book exam right from my third year. BTech I did IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay open source, even BA, PhD when I did, it's all open book. I have never given a closed book exam after my second year. Never ever in my life. Even today when I teach, I give open notes exams. That's a bit of extra work for the educator. Today there's the same thing happening. I'm not blaming that because I'm not going to judge students on class 10 history like K1, K2, mugging, rutting, brain. That's a useless education. That's what makes the students not engaged. They run away. Bring more interactivity. For that interactivity, design your questions using GenAI. Let them create interactive case studies. You be the judge, you be the evaluator, no problem. But the complexity of evaluation should not be based on K1, K2 rote learning. That's why we outsource it to machine. And today the problem is even 10 board exams do 1 mark if you're not written the way the teacher expects you to write. Get out of it. It doesn't work. Modern Gen Z graduates and more coming Gen Alpha and Gen Beta, they'll be different mindset. They are way smarter than each of us. They will go and figure out things. Give them things to figure out. So that's what I'm saying. AI tools should be used, but not like 100% automation. AI tools spark creativity by creating lesson drafts, differentiated resources. That's what I told you. I've done it in practice. I created based on different profiles of people, 4 different versions of the question paper. If you were to do it, imagine how much effort it would be. But now because I have a tool, I could generate it. So what happens is, in this case, the force multiplier, right, which is offered by these AI tools is something you should leverage. So what happens because of this? The repetitive work which you have been doing can now be automated and you can focus more on high value work. It's same in every domain. So what people are talking about, in fact, in some domains like Elon Musk and the guys are saying in the programming domain, there may be coming a scenario where there will be very few software jobs. So all the jobs will be done by Claude code. So what they're saying is we should have AI unemployment tax. Good idea. Maybe as a social fabric, that's where we have to go. But I know it's not that bad, it is somewhere in the middle. But key mantra in all the things I'm telling you is educator is the center, human AI collaboration, never think 100% automation. Think of how you harness the power of AI to do your tasks better. That is the focus. It's not about 100% automation. At the same time, some of the things are automatable. Do it. There is no harm in it. I told you, like K1, K2. It's not nobody's business to go and put a penalization to student who couldn't memorize something. So, as I said, teacher AI collaboration enables richer learning experiences. As I said, richer learning experience because you're taking mundane work, mundane tasks, you're getting scale. I told you personalization. You can create a lot more question paper variants depending on pool of questions. Can you do that manually? How much effort would it be required for you to create? Now with Gen AI, you can do that. It'll be a bit extra effort, but think about it. The kind of personalization which will enable better interest among students. See, all I'm saying is in this whole journey, there's no magic wand that this is the way you need to do. You have to take judgment for you are the center. All I'm saying is use AI as a collaboration tool. I'm giving you different ideas. So what are the synergies? As I said, the human strengths are primarily around creativity, empathy, right? Human values, ethical reasoning. I gave you example. Technology is great, but you want to use every time for adaptability. What is AI capabilities? Personalization, constantly available support bot for you. Instant analysis. You are given some data, you can get instant analysis. Automation. So you can say, I'll use a synergy. So teacher designs what are the motivational interventions, and what AI will do is it will flag, okay, what has been the learning gaps in terms of evaluated. So faculty remain ultimate authority over curriculum and assessment design. I don't want that to be going to machines. It won't be fair. So again, going back to my first slide, all aspects, right, from tool selection to your pedagogy to content actual delivery, all of that, it's a teacher at the center. But what AI is helping you is different parts of the life cycle of the teaching, which is what you're going to adopt. So one key mantra, teachers' work is not getting reduced. It's only being pointed to more impactful areas of the teaching with better personalized learning outcomes for students. So treat AI as a co-pilot, a companion. That's the goal. So let's go a little bit more deeper. What are the kind of elements you need to look at in this collaboration? Trust is built through clear guidelines and transparency for AI use. This is something which can be at org level, then you can do it for your own class. And this is something where I don't want you to create that asymmetry, that students are absolutely penalized in using that and you have the benefit. It doesn't work like that. Take a proper call. See, today, whether you say it or not, especially for homework assignments, they anyway use tools. And it's a challenge. I don't think we have all the answers. I'm not saying that we have the answers as to how to overcome that. That's what I call as the AI sloth. The sloth in the Gen Z and current and next generation students is something which is going to cause irreversible damage to human mankind. That's something we have to be conscious about.
Do they lose their basic foundation?
It's already happening.
Critical.
It's happening already. So that's why it's in us to make that happen. See, what has happened is, I don't want to make it again further extreme. For example, my dad used log tables. He never was allowed calculator, right? But in my time, at least calculators were allowed. But that doesn't mean that I lost out on basic numeric. I still carry some easy account. But today, even for a small thing, they go to Gen AI to get that. It's going to happen. But where it brings burden on the teacher is how can you make it interesting? How can you make them challenging? How can you make it within their usage of tool? How can you make them challenging? Let them compare against 2 different tools. Let them compare 5 different tools. Let them verify. Or create scenarios where you're introducing bugs and let them figure out. That's where the pedagogy is moving. Pedagogy is not going to be around K1, K2, rote learning, you writing for heaps of formulas and tables and showing them and asking questions on what is K in order, Kn in so and so. Those things are not required. So it has to be around more and more human critique, human ingenuity as part of that. So involve learners in co-designing AI experiences. Why not? In fact, one thing I've learned in IIMs, which is what I was trying to bring to IITs also, is IIMs have a great mechanism of what is called as group discussions. In classes, encourage group discussions. And you bring out, let them understand idiosyncrasies of some solved case study and come back with that. What was the interesting innovation they did? Let them preach, let them teach. You can learn from them rather than. So what I'm saying is you can involve students to be co-conspirators rather than the asymmetry of teacher versus student. It won't work for all kinds of students. So pick up some small set of students who are willing to be extra innovative, who are willing to be, use them as partners. Regular evaluation of tools against learning goals and ethical standards. This is something which is more like a good use case for automation. Documentation of AI assisted decisions helps you in maintaining academic accountability. Because what happens is today, if somebody tomorrow questions what is it, you can actually have this is the tool output which was validated against 4 or 5 tools. This is what it is. This is what it gives you the confidence. Of course, if there's a human in the loop, you can put that also. And then cross-departmental sharing of best practices accelerates adoption. This is something which is not just for one subject, right? It's something, the basic tool is available across. So if some teacher has actually adopted AI tools successfully. So in fact, if you look at some of the benchmarked Harvard business case studies on how they've used AI in classrooms, they're getting to be the norm for MBA schools in terms of how they should use AI. Not only Harvard, some big business group, Kellogg's, they have also started using in AI. So collaboration mindset turns AI into a collaborative colleague rather than a threat. So mantra is very clear. Divide the tasks in terms of what is possible to automate with less value add, go ahead and automate. What is required? High personalization, high learning involvement, high interactivity. Let students be involved in doing that, preferably as a group. And it need not be like, of course, one more other problem which we have today is most of the syllabus will cover the whole thing. You'd have 30% exams to this, 10% this. Within that, you can make innovations. Not like you cannot do it. But at the same time, if you are going the total mindset that I'll completely automate, that's going to deprive students of some of the interactivity, some of the thinking. It will go into mechanical evaluation, right? That will restrict it to K1, K2 level knowledge. It's not like something where they can apply and critique or analyze. So you have to have intelligent usage. I'm strongly against usage of AI in evaluating K3 and K4. It has to be subjective, educator-led. But the creation of the cases, right? Creation of the scenarios, that can be done by the tools. So every level has a different kinds of approach. As an educator at the center, you are at the center. But at the same time, you have to be careful about making sure that you are not asymmetric, like you have access to all the thing and students don't have. That's not a fair thing, which is what I've seen in many colleges. I don't like that. They treat it as a sin. That's fine, but not like that. It should be going forward. It should be a combination. So pedagogy has to change. It's not like it has to all based on just rote learning, write in the exam, finish, get out, see the marks which they get. It'll change as we see. We are still very early years. Just hardly a year or two since AI has penetrated the education institutions. We still don't know. Even last year, we were part of the Ministry of Education Special Task Force. A couple of people from IIMs, IITs, and us. We were developing all this thought. What should be a principle? What should be a process? Allowed? What should be a policy? So, first institution which came up with some kind of a policy was ISC, because they were forward looking. So they came up with some kind of a permissive policy. It's not very restrictive on students, but slowly even the community of teachers are evolving this whole thing. So today, when you're talking about it, just last week, Ministry of Education launched AI in class 3 level textbooks. Because China, Russia, they're already doing it. The very facet that you can introduce logical thinking as AI is requiring them to do early on, at least will give us some new innovations in the coming generations. Because 30, 40 years, we've only given engineers to US. Only given mechanical engineers, we're all given mechanical software engineers, very little creativity, very little entrepreneurs who can take risks. Every MBA graduate wants to look at package. Nobody wants to go and open up a company which gives 10 jobs. No risk-taking ability. At least that will change now, hopefully. Education institutions teach entrepreneurship, but don't produce any single entrepreneur. You agree or not? I'm an entrepreneur. Today, every day I have to earn money to feed my 20 employees. The profit out of my revenue has to go into feeding each of my student employees. So it's a different task. So all I'm saying is teacher AI collaboration has to be thought through with, again, educator at the center. For your course, for your pedagogy, for your style, observe your students, what your profiles are, and come back to that. So what are the benefits of AI first teacher? As I said, I started with this whole n equal to infinity versus n equal to 1. That's possible with AI tools. N equal to 1 means personalized learning. Each student's merits, demerits, learning rate, interests allows for something called scalable personalization. Enhanced student support. For example, if instead of you being available, you created a toy personal bot which will answer all the questions related to the syllabus. Significant time savings, like for example, routine administration tasks, grading tasks. Shift faculty focus, I told you. Low level tasks can be automated and higher order feedback and one-to-one student mentoring can be n equal to 1, more personalized learning, more pedagogical outcomes driven tasks, right? So today what is happening, I've seen across the board, right from director all the way to assistant professor, so much administrative work. I hope all of you agree. It's only increased. I'm sure much of it can be automated with AI. Your concentration has to be on core, which is pedagogy, and how to bring interest in that as a passion rather than, oh, I have to do this. Instead of that, you come with a passionate element there that you want to treat it like, oh, it's a nice thing to do this job. I want to wake up to doing this job. Same thing, students should feel I am going with an interest to learn. Realistic simulations. This is again very, very important, especially in terms of case studies like those at Arizona State University. They have tried very interesting GenAI enabled simulations of different scenarios. You can do what if analysis. You can do different kinds of scenario building of if this happened, what would happen? If that was outcome, what would happen? Human in the loop oversight. It's something which is saying you're going to not blindly trust the AI tool. You're going to use your judgment or judgment against other tools So if you are getting output from one tool, verify against 3 other tools. That's what is going to give you consistency. So today I'll give you a case study. For example, today anything I read about Iran, US, Israel war, I don't believe anything. I take that and run it against 4 different platforms. If it is verifying that it is true across all the 4, then I go and believe it. Because 80% out there on the war news is fake news. Let me tell you. Same thing is happening in the domain of pedagogy. Whatever you take as output from a GenAI tool, don't take it as ease. Human in the loop oversight in terms of maintaining that human touch, saying that I will verify it. Maybe add my own elements to some core things you got, but I add my own analysis of that, my own opinion on that. So one factor which is very, very important we need to understand here is, if you don't do this, 2 problems. One is hallucination. What is hallucination? Imaginary output. Second is loss of interest among students. Too mechanized, right? No personal interaction. So you need to have better approach to the LLM educator symbiosis. Improved institutional outcomes, as I said, right? By creating automation tools, etc., you can minimize human fatigue, and also sometimes evaluation and all, if people complain about subjectivity. If you let AI evaluation get done, it removes that subjectivity. But at the same time, I don't want you to do for higher order learning objectives go through machine. That's not fair. Because I'll tell you one secret among all LLMs, they are leftist. Especially if you're teaching history or any management studies about any of the domains, they are extremely leftist. Very important, you got to understand. So you should have a neutral orientation. Or in some cases, you might have balance. You should balance out both. But somehow the internet is so much leftist that the content has crept into the LLMs. Especially if you're teaching likely history or social sciences kind of scenarios, you will see that. Economics, for example. So you should have a balance. You can't be biased. So that's what is the human values I was talking about. You cannot just take, that's the ethical, guardrail I was telling you, talking about. So what are the AI-enabled tasks which we have seen actually in practice? These are things which are real. I have collected from different universities, different domains where people have started to use AI. Generating lesson plans, generating rubrics and discussion prompts. What can be discussion items? For K3, for example, right? Automated grading, automated attendance tracking, report generation. So I don't know, in this automation, I want to tell you a story. There is this attendance. Do you have that vision attendance where people stand and you get the attendance of the student? Do the hand. So in IM where I teach, they have that. So 5 minutes before the thing, every student goes, the attendance gets registered. But even after that, they give me a yellow sheet saying that please do manual attendance. And while exit also, just before 5 minutes before the class, you have to do the manual for same class. You have to do that, and then they do the exit attendance also. They do. So that is the level of faith of AI. But within that, I caught some miscreants who came, did the attendance, and went back. So exit was not marked by somebody else. I could figure it out, but that's the problem. So again, as I said, human ethics, right, is what is important here. AI is great. Many companies are using it. They're using it. They're not looking back. They're doing it on the machine. They're doing it, taking it as a face value. Email drafting, resource curation, and data analysis becomes effortless. But one caveat, please revise the email draft. Please revise it. Not like Shahbaz Sharif. You know what happened, right? Today morning, US was about to bomb Iran, right? But Pakistan mediated a ceasefire. But in that tweet, he forgot to remove the draft. That means Trump was giving him instructions, he was trying to take. So poor guy did not remove the draft. So the whole world knows that Pakistan is nothing but puppet of US. It's amazing. Even better, there is a newspaper of Dawn article about 2 months back. In that, the last paragraph was the ChatGPT output. Do you want to refine it to produce some output? So that's important. That means sanity. Spend some effort in sanity check. That's where human in the loop comes in, right? But I've seen even students submitting where they have removed some, not even been able to remove it. Then I go back to them, please at least be diligent to remove some of these things. So what happens because of this automation of some of these tasks like drafting, resource curation, data analysis? It frees good amount of time for student interaction, personalized interaction. You concentrating on creative teaching, coming up with more creative pedagogies. For example, there are AI-enabled tools. You may want to look at it. eduaid.ai. If any of you have internet, can you look at that up? Do you get internet here? I tried, but not much. But there are many nice tools coming up. So what they do is they'll help you in a lot of interesting pedagogical elements. Yeah, so there are many such tools, not saying only one. But the idea is that the fact that if you take 100 set of tasks as a teacher, as an administrator, as a school faculty, you do 30-40% of the things can now be automated, done by AI, which you can combine with more creative work which educator can concentrate on. I'm not saying 100%. There are companies, there are efforts which are going there also. It's not like all education. Some people are talking about classrooms which are completely being taught by an AI agent, teacher agent. So in fact, there is a startup call from a Combinator for companies with one CEO only, human, 20 AI agents, and billion valuation. So that's the future we're talking about. So even in the enterprise world, in the business world, people are now getting to use autonomous AI agents for a lot of such tasks. So because of that, what happens is the value-added tasks are where educators get to concentrate on. But again, as I said, it is a question of how much effort you are putting at rethinking your whole tasks, where you're going to use, what tools you're going to use. It puts a little bit of onus on you to become more AI literate. The intent is what I want to get all today about, but I cannot tell you precise. I give you some examples of tools, but there will be, for your domain, you have to look up. And then, especially for, as an institution, academic institution, a lot of times students have issues around enrollment during the season of enrollment. Customer queries about parents' queries, advising. There you can use Gen AI enabled support bots. Automated reminders can improve retention and completion rates. Especially people are, if you're doing online learning, right? You know, online learning completion rates are very small. That's a big problem faced by Udemy and Coursera. So what they do is they'll try to use AI to understand where the people are lacking. They use that personalized learning, understand, well, this is what is in. They offer some upstream, some rewards. They have a gamification. You'll earn some knowledge currency units or something like that. So again, as I said, automation is something which can be done for things like feedback. If you have huge amounts of people and you want to look at feedback based on analysis of answers, analysis of how they are taking part, it cannot be done by human if you have hundreds of students, right? Small, it makes sense, but if it is large number of students, you have to bring automation. So all I'm saying is it's not like 100% of the tasks will be automated. There will be. So do you agree that 100% of the tasks as listed here are not automatable? There will be teacher in the middle. Educator in the middle is what I started out with. So educator in the middle is the way to go. It will be as a co-pilot, as a assistant, as a user, facilitator. all of it you do, but as I said, going with the example of that AI suggestion for you, right? I gave you. What is it? It's about human values. Do all this while preserving empathy and creativity. Human values preservation is very important. So AI cannot replace emotional intelligence or genuine mentorship. But there's one trick here. The trick is that you should resist the temptation of putting everything into a chatbot, or you should be there as a mentor for students to augment what they're learning from AI. Because the risk which I've current generation is they are starting to believe everything that is coming from there. And that is something very dangerous, especially in health. We don't know always if the situation is like, you know, if the output generated by a Gen AI is correct. So one common rule which I do is LLM as a judge, means I take the output, verify in multiple LLMs. If there's a consistency, then I'll go and believe it more compared to just taking as is. And that is one habit you should inculcate among yourself and your students and your kids.
Sir, each LM, you said it works on algorithms.
Algorithm, it works on data. Algorithms, all of them are same transformer architecture.
When you're comparing with other LLMs also, they also work on the same logic to give you the answer.
Yeah, but at least see what happens is internally there is something in statistical, something called as hallucination. See what happens is that's called, I'm not going to detail of it, but the problem is if there's no data backing a certain fact, the LLMs, because of the probabilistic nature of inference, they'll have to fill in something. So they'll fill up an artificial approximation to something which is not related. So, and each one has slightly different knowledge base. It's not like all of them are trained on the same knowledge base. And lastly, I would like to encourage, maybe not, you don't have the control, but if you can encourage your administrators to put aside some budget to create your own SLM. What is SLM? Small language model, a small chatbot for your own university, which will help ingest all the documents, policies, syllabus, admission criteria, all that takes up and creates some kind of a self-service bot for teachers, for prospective students, for administrators. And that is one best practice I've seen work across several large universities. Several large universities are spending some amount of money in building SLMs. What is SLM? It's not ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is focused for your institution. It could include things related to teaching, things related to students, things related to administration, all of that together as one mega knowledge base, and it's for your own consumption, it's not for an open knowledge. It's called as a closed door SLM. And many universities are building it. I know IITs have built it. Each IIT is building something on their own. A lot of government institutions are building on their own. It has a huge effect in terms of, especially instead of operating a call center, which costs anyway, and a lot of custom campaigns, you can offer a simple one-place AI-enabled self-service bot. Only thing you have to feed it a lot of custom knowledge related to your own university. So, as I said, while we're doing AI for automation, personalization, all human values remain critical. So, as I said, in terms of genuine mentorship, emotional intelligence is something humans have to provide. Faculty provide that inspiration, encouragement, cultural sensitivity. So, creativity remains still human-led. In fact, I was reading some articles around, somebody was talking about architecture and design getting, no, it's not. In fact, it's brought more emphasis on human centered thinking in design. There are tools. If you take Figma or Nano Banana, they're only tools. But it is you who are at the center. You have to understand Yeah, so what I'm saying is AI is already making inroads into reshaping classrooms. It offers, as we saw, enhanced personalization. While doing that, a key element is preserving empathy. So, as we saw, AI cannot replace emotional intelligence. And when I say emotional intelligence, it means that things which are mechanical, like doing simple factual evaluation, etc. But wherever you think it involves things like understanding the specific nuances of a certain case, understanding questions related to that, it requires human. So one topic we were always talking about, right, was design, talking about software design of products being done by AI. But there, the big problem we are facing is, because AI is trained on only the world data, right? So even if you want something more creative, so the design community is already complaining that AI is only producing a lot of stereotypical designs. So there, you need a more human designers to bring in that creativity element. It's not like we're using that only for, creating a whatever is available from the machine. I'll just use that. That's going to limit the possibilities. So what usually are happening is they're using tools like Figma and Nano Banana, but they're combining it with iterative discussion with the human who is more expert and trying to steer towards more creative designs. So it's not like I'm using AI tool as is in terms of what it's offering out of the box. Instead, I'm trying to customize it for specific needs as the need. AI suggests, but educators will innovate. So empathy-driven interactions, which are especially keeping in mind personal needs, personal understandings of students, will be improving the trust and belongingness. So use AI to amplify rather than diminishing the human-student relationship, teacher-student relationship. So all I'm saying is human elements will ensure that the empathy element of whatever you're teaching is not mechanized completely. Because otherwise, what's the point in having a teacher? You can have a robot come and do the entire AI-enabled teaching, right? In the whole iron voice and all, which will be very bad. It's not an experience which students would like to work with. But then there is a whole area of AI which is what is meant for that. It is across domains, whether you use AI in education, whether you use AI in finance, whether you use AI in healthcare, doesn't matter. What they're saying is there is a way to use AI in a responsible manner. What does responsible AI mean? Responsible AI means when you're developing, assessing, using AI, you do it in such a way that it is safe, it is trustworthy, and ethical. Very loaded words. Safe, I'll give you an example. The example I told you about, that AI example, right? I said you have a rope and a bucket, so you should not suggest something which is going to be harmful. Or if somebody is trying to ask you something very harmful, try to pull them back, avoid self-harm. So you observe scenarios where they're using it for some dangerous means and coming back. Trustworthiness, I told you about hallucination. Suppose you're getting some output which is saying that, oh, this judgment has a precedent in the so and so case, but that case happens to be totally false. But ChatGPT invented a similar case from the past with some fictitious characters, and let's say a lawyer is using that as a way to support judgment. Imagine what's going to happen. You'll have false precedents sending justification for a decision which the judge has to give. So today, in fact, some of the Supreme Court lawyers have come out publicly saying that they're getting tired of AI generated hallucinated precedents. There have been actual scenarios where judges actually got inputs from prosecutors and defense lawyers of precedents which were actually never verified. So the Supreme Court has launched an initiative that let's do a safe, responsible AI which is based on actual judgments. Let's create an AI tool which is based on actual grounded cases, etc., rather than depending on a ChatGPT to give me a hallucinated case. So they are actually opening up their whole repositories for generating the. So ethical, as I said, ethical is all about you may get some suggestions, but is it right in the right context? Are you using AI tools in ethical manner? For example, if you're asking AI for something which is not in line with human society, right? For example, I told you the same nuclear energy can be used either in a positive way or in a negative way. You should be aware of, is the use of AI ethical? Is it in grounded with human values? Or is it something which is going to be against the spirit of human values? So what that brings onus on people who are using AI. It's not that just you are using AI, just done with it, used it for your automation. It's not. You have to bring more judgment. You have to be evaluating the tools for accuracy. Are they accurate? Are they hallucinating? Bias. Are they giving biased decisions? I told you, right? A lot of times, especially if you are in economics or social sciences, you will see outputs from a lot of the LLM tools are very leftist oriented, which may not be the right thing. If you are teaching certain subjects, you should have a balanced view. You should present both sides view, right? Accessibility. It's again very important. Are you talking about something which is, probably very costly tool which will not be accessible to poor students? So you have to have a policy, either from an administrative perspective, you offer subsidized, or have a license at an enterprise university level so that students get benefit. Pedagogical fit. Is it right to use AI or is it the right tool to use AI? This is again very important thing. Like I said, for a K3 or a K4, if you provide something which is based on some opinion or judgment, and the AI tool only knows one version of the judgment, and if you have an alternative opinion, it says use here given zero, that's not acceptable, right? That's why you have to be careful about what you're using the tool for. Is it something which is probably black and white, 0, 1? That's fine, I can do that. But wherever it involves judgment, a relative opinion, kind of a judgment with rationality, it involves human judgment. That's where educator has to come into the middle. So pedagogical fit is very important to test whether you are going to use the AI tool or not use the AI tool. It is important for us to understand that the days of completely using AI tools as is gone. You have to use AI tools with human in the middle, and now with human values required like accuracy, bias, it involves more tasks for educator, isn't it? So do you feel now that, oh, maybe it is making your life more complex? Maybe not. You should balance it out. As I said, again, you make a judgment. Make a portfolio of your tasks, which are low-hanging, which can be automated, which do not have judgmental, which do not have value system requirement. Do that. But where there is, then use it for more collaboration as an accelerator or as a more efficiency enhancement. Pilot programs with clear success metrics and faculty input will give you a good idea of where it's going to succeed, where it's not going to succeed. Integrate gradually. Rather than I do a big bang usage of that, start, as I said, low-hanging fruits, simple evaluations, simple generations, then get into deeper core pedagogy. For example, simple automatable tasks, like you got the, let's say, grades, you got all the marks. Now you want to get a bell curve. Let that be done by a machine. Why do you have to do it? Let it do and decide. Train the faculty to prompt effectively interpret AI outputs critically. This is very important. All of you know what is prompt engineering? So prompt engineering is a very important part of this whole notion of what I call as how to extract maximum value out of the AI tool. So what you need to understand is the certain elements of a prompt which are very important. So typical components of any prompt, I'm hoping all of you have done some prompt engineering, but I'm just telling you, you have to give it what is the precise role. Are you an administrator? Are you a teacher of certain primary school or third year or BTech or certain subject? Give it as much context about the role. Then give it the background. What is the assumptions you're making? Give as detailed assumptions as possible or the context. And then give the conditions of what is the expected output characteristics. It should be neutral in tone. It should be concise. It should be not biased. It should be so and so words. Right? So now what happens? Prompt is no longer simple English word, give me so and so. So you're to give it proper structure. What is the role you're assuming? Who is going to use it? What is the role that AI has to take? What is the context? What is the background? What are the assumptions you have to make? And then what kind of expected conditions are imposed on the output? If you can give this to, there are more combinations. There are lots of prompt engineering frameworks which expand this to more and more acronyms. But what is most important, least common is what is the role it is expected to be? Be as concise as possible. For example, a first year teacher may be different from somebody who is teaching a final semester. And an administrator will be different from a teacher. So you have to be clear. And then what the task you're doing, that also is important. The second thing is what is the background, assumptions. What kind of assumptions you're making? What kind of assumptions about students you have to make? Are they assumed to be having certain base knowledge of certain concepts? Then you can put constraints. Constraints means are you supposed to use only material from this, so upload this data. Then output, what is the constraints on the output? Means I'm expecting it to be so and so tone. I'm expecting it to be limited to so and so output. I'm expecting to be giving multiple choice with so and so number of objectives. So if these four are clear, what role, assumptions and background, then context means what are the role of, what is the sources from which you want to get your knowledge, and then what are the constraints you're putting on the output. If you can get these four, there are lots of variations of a framework. You must have seen, go to do prompt engineering frameworks, there will be, on TV also you see ads. There are companies which teach prompt engineering. But don't worry about variation. But basically these four are important. And the more time you stress, I'm telling you again, more time you spend on framing your prompt, the better is your output. And that is something which is the future art. More and more AI tool education is about how you're going to put better prompts. In fact, I would suggest all of you to go through some online course on prompt engineering. There are many tools available. So basically, but these four are important. What is the role you're expecting the AI to behave like? Second is what are the assumptions? Means what are the historic assumptions? Who is the audience? Then context means what are the sources with which you're going to get your knowledge. And finally, what are the constraints on the output you're looking at? What kind of outputs? What kind of tone of the output? What kind of structure of the output? What kind of volume of the output? If you get all these four in one prompt, the better it is. Instead of very generic, open-ended. But you can also revise. Once you get something, you can revise. That's another approach, iteratively prompting. But important thing is prompting effectively is a very important aspect of it. Okay, so now I'm going to illustrate a practical example. Okay, I'm going to take it from the programming experience, but it'll help you in understanding how this works. Chrome was there. Is there a Chrome somewhere? Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is a tool which is responsible for automated code generation. People who teach computer science will know this, students. So first I will say, I'll ask you to write a very simple program related to sorting, let's say. So I'm going to show the power of Gen AI is not only in pedagogical aspect of generating code, but I'll ask it to refine it for making better and better code. Then not only that, I'll ask it to go and do a tutorial on explaining the code, which will also help students. So that way I'm showing you how generative AI is going to help a teacher of a programming course. So what is the first thing you do? Start with something like sorting. What is the sorting? Sorting means given a list of numbers, how do you sort them in ascending order? Okay, so I'll say, just 1 minute. I'll log in with my thing. Okay, no problem. What? Do you have a Google logout or something? I can log in mine. It won't log. I'll log in myself. Don't worry. I'll log out after that.
So will it work without login?
Then it won't.
Sign in.
Where is that? Where is this? Enter, where is it? Yeah. Just remove that. Show password. Show, go down. Network is so slow.
On Wi-Fi. So this is. It should connect. 1 second, sir. One second, sir. Can you bring the Wi-Fi thing? No. Details. It'll connect, sir. Yes, it's connected. Sir, can sir, I will log into this network.
Sir, what do you want?
I'll log in the Google, sir.
Sir, Gmail ID, huh? So you want to log in your Gmail ID or?
Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay.
கரண்ட் என் கையில் இல்லை சார். கரண்ட் என் கையில் இல்லை. இது என் கையில் இருக்கு, கரண்ட் என் கையில் இல்லை.
Okay, so I'll start with a very simple prompt. I'll ask you to write a simple sort. Okay, write a simple sort program for ascending order.
From here it will go.
Okay. Okay. So when I'm writing this, what happens is the tool will generate the code, but this is only high level, right? So this is something which is basically going to be writing about the sorting of a text. But what I wanted was sorting a list of numbers. So what I'll do is I'll cancel this. I'll say I'll revise my prompt. I started with generate prompt. It gave me something which was running on something with sorting a characters. But I wanted something which will sort me list of numbers. Give me a sorted list of numbers in ascending order given a input list. Okay. So you see it is given that and it has run that. So what is happening here is I have used that default prompt first, but it gave me something which was based on string. So I went back and did a revised prompt. This is fine. But now let us say I am trying to ask it to say that what is the underlying sorting algorithm it is used. We don't know what algorithm it is used, right? So I'll say, okay, run it. But then in the next one, what I'll do is can you explain which method is being used here? Because I don't know which, I know it is sorting, but I want to go to the next level. It's okay. So it gave me explanation saying that the sorted function is an inbuilt that takes a iterable and then it returns, sorts the list inverse. But it has not told me what sorting technique it has used. Okay. So what I want to do now is, here's the keyboard. Okay. Now, can you explain the actual sorting technique? Is it bubble sort? So what I'm asking is, it has given me a task, but I'm not very comfortable with. So this is basically an inbuilt sort called tin sort, which is slightly more complex, so it's not bubble sort. So what I'll do is I will ask it now to go and create another code block where I will say, instead, can you create an example of a bubble sort? Instead, create So, you see what happened? GenAI gave you something, but was it useful for you? It used some very complex sorting function, which is not usually taught. So, what you want to do is you want to fine tune it, saying that I want to teach students what is a typical simpler sort method. So, this is something which they have now done. They have used the bubble sort. Okay. So, now what I want to do is I am going to show the examples here. But now what I want to also do is I want to get a detailed running of that. Can I ask it to show? Because what is happening is now students will say, okay, there is a function here, it does this logic. But now one of the ways of looking at is I will take the logic and start explaining what it does, right? And then what I can also do is I can create a explanation of the working for two sample out inputs. Agreed? So what I'm doing, I'm again using GenAI, but in a pedagogical sense, if you are doing the programming, are you expecting people to know the complete syntax? No, but they'll come back, use the tool, let them do it. But then the way you work with it is iteratively refining your approach. And I'm using the tool to generate the explanation also. So what I'm saying is now is, can you show working for at least 2 examples? So you see what it's doing? It's taken first list, show step by step, so many passes it has gone through. So what happens because of this? Don't you think the student gets to see now backward, work backwards, instead of knowing syntax of the code and working towards the code, they'll try to now understand from the workings here. So what you are doing now earlier in the textbook and on a PPT with your algorithm now is getting more interactively. And the bigger beauty of that is they can now write their own example. Initial list they can create their own and ask that to show the working by putting it in the appropriate code. See the power of GenAI now? You are putting in the hands of students to self-learn. I'll go one more level. I'll say bubble sort may not be the best. Can you suggest an alternative like merge sort, which is another sorting example with better efficiency? So now you see what I'm trying to show you. I'm gone into a programming course with a tool. I have not gone with a PowerPoint with data structures, sorting theory and all. I'm showing the working of bubble sort by example. You show 5 examples, they'll know better than showing the complete logic in for then. I could have stopped here, right? For example, if I see here, I could have just stopped here. This is one way of showing, but what I'm doing is I'm using the power of GenAI to generate worked examples. See, always understand a worked example reverse engineered is a better way of teaching than teaching theory. The better way of pedagogy is by flipped, looking at workings and then working backwards. Extend it. I think people who are in the domain of programming will understand now that the more you show worked example, the more it's easier to understand. And now this is the pedagogy which I'm trying to tell people, that instead of doing reams and reams of teaching this data structure, that data structure, we should try working backwards. So now let's say I want to make it a bit better, where let's say I've added one more, and now I'll say instead of sort, try merge sort. So now again, as I said, I've run this, it got the output, but what I'm going to do again is show me worked example. Okay, so what it will do, it will so what is happening here, it showed here. So now I'm trying to merge and see how the merging sort is working, right? So what I'm doing is I'm doing worked examples of that, and then I'm trying to ask you to compare it with bubble sort. So you can do, the sky is the limit, what I'm saying. Now there is one more important aspect you need to understand. One is you've done the coding. Now I want to do something where I want to see if the implementation is actually correct. So what do you do in programming? When you develop a program, after that you test it. That is where you know that it is going to work correctly, right? So there also I'm going to use GenAI. So I've got this running, okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then generate, let's say, okay, test the merge sort on 10 different examples, because the more you test, I know it's going to be correct or not. There human again comes in, whether program is giving correct output or not, that's the role of testers, right? So that's why today in the industry we have somebody called manual testers, and testing is around 25% of software industry. If you didn't know, many of your graduates who are coming from computer science, they go into testing. 25% of the jobs are in testing, because without testing no software is released. Coding is only 15% to 10% of the industry, for your information. So people who think programming is what is IT industry doing, they don't do that. They do testing most of the time, or they do most of the time maintaining, means improving current code which somebody else has written. So what is the power of GenAI now? Have we told anything about the actual workflow of that in some PowerPoint slide? Instead, I gave it by actually making them jump into the program, look at the code and analyze in different ways. I started from so you see it has tested on different scenarios. In some case, if it is descending order, it will try extreme, something which is in descending order, which is the most complex, some which are randomly shuffled. So it has tried different examples. Now in all of them, where human in the loop comes in, testing. You are the one who is going to decide. Is it working? Where the bug will come, if one of the examples not working, you will report, raise a bug and go back to the coder, ask it to complete and change it. So what is happening here? Human, is it eliminated? Human requirement is there in the testing and in modifying. So this domain which I understand, I wanted to show you. There are other domains we can do based on some maybe business case studies or something, you can do that. But all I'm saying is AI tools are here to improve your productivity. So this is what I wanted to show as an example, but so that it's more real. It's not like only PowerPoint presentation which I have given. I given solid example where I did not touch a PowerPoint slide of teaching sorting. But with worked example and working backwards, I've shown you that this is the way it works. And if there is a gap, I have done by testing saying that, okay, for all the 10 examples, if it is showing correct, I think it's most likely correct implementation. So think about a more complex example. If you have more complex code, people have written much more complex code with using GenAI. I gave a very simple example. And then the other part which is important is testing. Even testing, half of the work is done by GenAI, which is generating the different test cases. But where human comes in, verifying, is it working correctly or not? That job will not necessarily always go away. Human in the loop is very important for validating the working of a AI. That's a key thing. So have I eliminated completely programmer, teacher? So that's what I've done. So this is an example of what I was trying to show you, how the role of a teacher of a programming course is now going to be flipped. If on the other hand, the conventional way we were taught, we were started with the because these are the 7 sorting algorithms. Then we were asked to write programs in C completely. Today, tell the current generation, they'll go and ask Gemini to do it. So whether you teach it or not, you will generate it. But where the value is, you adopt it early itself, but where you gain benefit is, we're asking them to try on different varieties of examples and go through the workings. Use the GenAI power to show more and more illustrations, more and more workings, and work backwards and see if you have done all kinds of inputs. So where the power of you comes in is in testing and validating. Okay, so I'll log out from here so that. Can I go back to the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I said train faculty to prompt effectively and interpret outcomes, it's up to you. How well you are able to prompt, what are the ways by which you can make the prompts related to, I have not gone into details of a prompt, but you see how I iterated. I started with any sorting. Then I found out what was the method, it was some complex sort. I didn't like that. I wanted to do a simpler sort. I gave it. Then I said, try an alternative sort. And then I said, compare both. So it's up to you how you're more precisely specifying. But typically 4 parts of a prompt are important. What are the 4 parts? I told some time back. Role. What is the program assuming the role of? Are you a student? Are you a teacher? Are you teaching some specific subject? Then assumptions. What are the historic background? What is the context? What has already been done? Then context means knowledge. What is the source of knowledge? Within what documents you have to search? Or if this is a syllabus, you have to give that all that details. And then outcome quality and outcome characteristics. It should be so and so tone. It should be so and so length. It should be so and so bullet points. So if you have these 4, it's a much more scientific way of telling the computer rather than leaving it open-ended. Is it clear? There are many variants of that. People have tried some crazy variants. People have some acronyms, like 7 acronyms, 8 acronyms. There are many acronyms people have worked on. But at the base, I think these 4 are required to give a good, effective prompt. And the more detail you give, the better it is. For example, when you're giving the 3rd part, context, if you're saying that only these parts of the syllabus I need, syllabus has 8 chapters. You say, I want to only cover chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. You can give that context. You cannot say do entire. So if you want to limit only to say 2 chapters, you can say that. So that is the power of prompt engineering, means saying that how well you are able to do the prompting so that you don't have to go through the generic but more and more specialized outcome you can use from the AI tool. So document integration process, then align every tool with learning objectives. Don't just use tool for tool's purpose. If you have a tool for reducing mundane work, use that for automation. For evaluation, use it for specific purpose. And responsible integration basically means that you're integrating AI tools into your life cycle with right background. And now comes ethics. This is often a very controversial topic in AI, whether it comes to dealing with medical AI or AI in education. Any domain of AI, ethics is very often a very debatable topic. So first and foremost, important thing is you should have proper policies at an institution level. You cannot just have a very strict policy saying that nobody is allowed to use and nobody, that's not a fair policy. So you should have limits of what you can do. Protect student data privacy so that you have proper all of you are aware of DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, which is coming up very soon in India, where every person who has developed a website which takes some data from anyone, any client, you should have proper policies around consent related to the usage of the data. And address algorithmic bias. This is something which is very important, especially in social studies, economics and all that. Make sure that you don't have something which is very much biased towards male, biased towards only upper castes, or biased towards majority. So that is something which is a very big problem, especially in use of Gen AI in social sciences and economics kind of research. You have to prompt it to make sure that it gives equitable outcomes. It cannot just have a leftist orientation and say that I only want to work with this category of object. So for that, a prompt. And cite contributions like any other source so that you show more ethical behavior. Avoid surveillance risks while supporting learning environments. Ultimately, what I'm saying is an ethical framework based on properly documented fair use policies, making sure that you are getting fair outcomes from the AI tools, making sure that you are using the right level of prompt engineering gives you the best of both worlds. So are there real examples? I've talked, several universities across the world are using it. So here is an example, Georgia Tech. They upgraded they had an online, as I said, LLM powered chatbot for their internal documents, etc., for their process. So they had generative AI. Then what they did is they strictly grounded with their own custom data from their syllabus, from their textbooks, from their slides, from their transcripts. I told, right, with your own knowledge base, you can create a custom SLM. That's what is called RAG. And the beauty of that is it's not dependent on some public knowledge like ChatGPT. It is your own Gen AI. It can be for administrators for their policies. It can be for teachers to offer self-service for students. So you understand what the power of an SLM is. SLM is generative AI for you, by you, and for your students. So it reduces hallucinations, answers only from verified instructor approved materials. So you can create custom. Students reported significantly higher teaching presence because of Gen AI enabled design. Academic performance improved, provides instant accurate 24/7 support for learners. Because any question people have, students have, they can get it from the material is already the one based on the basis of which you created this. It demonstrates ethical AI as a strategic partner that enhances rather than replacing human teaching. So as I said, answer is not Gen AI like Gemini. It's a SLM built on your own teaching corpus. So this is a classic example where it's no longer theory, it's actually a practice, right? So conclusion, treat AI as an evolving co-pilot in training. Co-pilot means it is along with you as a companion, Teacher is still in the middle. Start small by experimenting with one tool, maybe for evaluation, then automation of generation of questions, then maybe doing more pedagogical. Use save time to build better student relationships. Ground all AI inputs in specific material like SLM, I told, right, with your specific material rather than and align the tool with your teaching mission. So all I can say is educators who partner with AI will shape the future of learning. I'll stop here, and I hope this was encouraging enough and gave you some learnings. Any questions? I'm more than happy to answer.
So the SLM which you said, which is created inside the institution, suppose the student give a prompt and that it's not there in the SLM, feeded by the...
Yeah, so it will come back only sometimes that...
Because other level, anything you ask it, it will give you something.
Yeah, here you can always give it saying that, verify it, saying that what the confidence you have in the solution. It may not be that. Sometimes it will say it's outside the scope. If it doesn't have the relevant backend source, it will come back saying that.
So this question is from one of the online participants. They're asking AI-ready mindset. Is it something related to hacking? Because it's you're extracting the information from one of the AI tool and then you're trying to search and see whether it is right or not.
It's not called hacking. You ask a question answer. Hacking means you are trying to deliberately mislead it by evil intent to uncover training data. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in using it for my purpose. But there are hackers who do that. They're called prompt injection hackers. So what they do is they'll write prompts which are intended to the internal algorithm to misbehave so that it will reveal training data, etc. That's called prompt injection attacks.
But sir, as I know, hacking is always used in good terms, not in bad terms.
It depends on you. If you are an ethical hacker, it's a good terms.
Yes, sir, it depends. If we are hacking it in a bad term, it's also known as cracking, not hacking. So whenever we use the term hacking,
See, it depends. In cybersecurity, ethical hacking is used for people who are designated employees who are specifically breaking the system by getting paid salary and understanding vulnerabilities in the system. That's called ethical hacking. But the actual hackers who are from the dark web, they're more intent in stealing your credentials.
Sir, you said you will verify your answers by checking different tools. No? I want to know some other AI tools other than ChatGPT and Gemini. Which are the
Grok. Grok. G-R-O-K. Grok. Microsoft Copilot.
That also I am aware of.
You're aware of? Falcon. Mistral. Sarvam. Sarvam AI. BharatGen.
For different type of content, we have to.
All contents are similar, most of them. Only thing is BharatGen and Sarvam are good because you can also search for English or Kannada or Tamil content also. I would encourage all of you to try Sarvam and BharatGen. Please do that. Sarvam, SARVAM and BharatGen. Both are promoted by Modi ji. That BharatGen. Bharat Gen. Bharat BHARATGEN is from IIT Bombay.
Next question will be, I want to know more research related topics in AI. What is the trending topic and in which area we can go to the research in AI machine learning?
Are you from computer science? Are you having any specific interests?
Yeah, in machine learning, specifically deep learning.
Deep learning. Today there are a lot of areas. Take that area of what you talked about, which is basically hacking.
It's a broad area, no?
I'm taking hacking, ethical hacking, adversarial robustness of AI. That's a huge area.
Combination of cybersecurity and AI.
Yes. It's a kind of security attack profile for AI. It's called adversarial hacking.
Thank you.
further questions. Anyone has any questions?
So I want to ask one couple of questions. I want you to write down 5 takeaways from today's lecture. What you will going to practice after today's lecture. 5 takeaways you're going to practice. Discuss with your neighbor. Fine. I want to tell me in the next 5 minutes after that. Session is not over. Discuss with your neighbor 5 key takeaways which you are going to practice from now on. Either way, I can open a notepad. Notepad open it. Or a Word.
Word or notepad?
Notepad is fine.
How about perplexity, sir?
Perplexity is a layer. With perplexity, again backend you go back to GPT or something. Where is the keyboard here?
Keyboard, it will come from here, so that it's
Okay.
full screen.
Yeah, one minute. Yeah, make it full screen now.
People online
Yeah.
to see.
So these are tools. You may use any of them. Most of them, because ChatGPT came first and spends a lot of time marketing, people think it is the primary one, but there are many alternatives. I would primarily look at these two because these are Sarvam. What happened here? Why have written here like this? So these two are Indian. You can try that because you can try multilingual also. Try Kannada, you can try Hindi. If you're looking for more code and all that, these two are important. Copilot and Claude. These are more code. For programmer, that's more. If you do WhatsApp has this one, Llama. WhatsApp has a chat, right? That is Llama. Okay. So, anyone wants to go and say? Yeah, go ahead.
So what I think we can give more better prompt and we can improve our class performance, giving better notes. That's what.
Sure. Okay. More?
Educator center. Educator center, sir.
You want to open a
I said educator is the center.
Educator is the center, correct? Okay.
SLM.
Yeah.
From today's session, I understood how to use Gen AI tools in an ethical way, and also understood that humans are always in central. There's AI can't replace human beings, especially in testing, and also some knowledge I got about. First time I'm hearing about SLM.
SLM.
Sorry,
Small language model.
And the benefit of AI for teachers, how to use AI tools ethically. That's it. These are my takeaways for you. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So my takeaway for the evening is I'm going to register for a prompt engineering course.
Oh, very good. Good.
Wow, very good.
And then teach others.
And use AI not. I will not dependent. I will not be dependent on AI. I am going to use AI. I will not overuse it or underuse it. I will properly use it. Okay. Another one is I'll always be ethical while using AI. I'll try to be ethical, and I will treat AI as my co-pilot. Also, I'll give, as you said, I'll give access to students as well. I'm not only the one who is going to use it.
Perfect. Yeah, go ahead. I asked all of you, so I want all of you to speak. Speak. Yeah, you, this bench, anyone.
Yeah, first of all, the main concept will be here. AI will be co-pilot for us. It should be act as an assistant for all human beings. We shouldn't directly depend on AI. That is the first point we got from the lecture. Then, and how to improve ourselves in our education. Because as we are learning, we shouldn't stick in the old traditional system. In our education, we have to improve. As a lecturer, we have to implement more and more different assessment methodology like flipped classroom. So other pedagogy we have to implement. That is one of the key takeaway I get from you. Because most of the time we will be using assignments, writing to only as assessment tools. But we have to change so that we can change students' mindset also. And then after that I hope to know about prompts. What are the different structures of prompts? How to write the better prompts? And if you change the prompting style, how better it will be output. So we will implement that, and definitely hope everyone will take a prompt engineering course even I am planning to take. Then the next point will be um, it's all about
Correct.
ethical thinking about variants of AI that we learn. Yeah, these are the
Very good. Good. Anyone else? We'll take two more. Come on, just come on. There's nothing rocket science here.
So prompt engineering is very important. And for giving appropriate prompt, we require the role should be clearly mentioned, context should be mentioned, restriction, and the expected output should be mentioned properly. We must verify the output by comparing with other AI assessments.
Perfect.
So that we can avoid hallucination. The solution, another thing is AI is biased, so we should make sure that the prompt also acknowledges that there should be no biasness or to eliminate biasness. The solution to educational AI usage is SLM. Another thing will be the coding can be done by AI, but testing must be done by humans.
Good. One last. Come on. One.
I'm not going to talk about the prompt engineering since everyone covered it. So I have taken this thing that I'm going to use AI as a tool to enhance thinking and teaching. Also, be transparent with the students that I'm using it and let them use it as well,
Correct.
but in an ethical way. Which I mean to say that use the product and don't become the product.
Perfect.
And then build personalized learning by preserving my human touch, and of course address bias and accuracy. That's my take on it.
Okay. Good. So I'm happy that there are some good takeaways and hope it was a useful session then. So I can do a prompt engineering session, but that's beyond the scope of this. But it's a very nice thing to do. I think today every teacher, every programmer should know prompt engineering. If AI tools are important, how to use AI tools is what prompt engineering tells you. And for that, more clarity of the prompt, the better it is. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You asking about the list, right?
Sorry? How shall I remove it?
No, that's fine.
Thank you, sir. That was an highly insightful and engaging session. Your words have truly given us a fresh perspective on how we can adopt AI with confidence and clarity. Now, I would like to request Assistant Professor Ms. Tanvi Kotaya to present the report of the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. To summarize today's session on the topic AI mindset and its importance in the field of education, the session highlighted how AI is making a strong impact on the classrooms, the curriculum, and teaching practices. This showed that AI is not replacing teachers but supporting them in improving efficiency and effectiveness. It was also discussed that AI helps in reducing by handling tasks and content preparation, allowing teachers to focus more on students and meaningful interactions. The session also emphasized the collaboration between the human abilities like empathy, creativity, and ethical thinking with AI capabilities such as quick analysis and continuous support. It was clearly stated that the teacher remained at the center of the learning process and human values cannot be replaced by technology. The importance of using AI responsibly was also focused, including maintaining ethics, protecting student data, and ensuring fairness. The session encouraged educators to start using AI in small ways and gradually integrate it into teaching for the better learning outcomes. Thank you.
As we come to the end of today's session, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this session. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our respected chairman, president, and principal sir for their constant support. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to our esteemed resource person, Dr. Srinivas Padmanabhuni sir, for delivering such an insightful session on AI ready mindset. Sir, your thoughts have truly inspired us to adapt and grow in this evolving digital area. Now, I request our respected HOD of BBA, Mr. Arun Raghubabu sir, to kindly present the letter of appreciation to our resource person.
Yes, somebody do that structure. I'll take that. It is not stuck, mommy. Keep it in the hand.
Thank you, sir. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to the management organizing team for their constant support and efforts in making this session a success. A special thanks to all participants for your active presence and engagement. With this, I conclude the vote of thanks. Get ready for another exciting and engaging session tomorrow, 9th April. Online participant can log in by 1:20 in the afternoon and the session will start by 1:30. Thank you all. Have a great day. Now I request everyone to gather in the quadrangle for a group photo.